Yeah. What have you had any kind of steering away from diet? Is there any? I think you picked up saying that you moisturize. Is there any other treatments you do, whether that be moisturize or I think some people use cryotherapy, or there's a wide range of things I can't even begin to imagine. But
So I think what I it's oh, I use this. I it's not the correct infrared lamp, but I find so look, I did do research into it, and infrared can be very healing for the tissues and reduce inflammation. Apparently, the heat infrared lamps are not necessarily as good as the LED infrared lamps, but I'm just not in a position to buy one of those right now. They're quite a few thousand for me. Um, and so I've been using this probably since about month when I was still on cortisone. I was using this lamp and I was finding it was bringing me a lot of relief. And also, I can't regulate my body temperature. I'm cold all the time. So this for me just generates some warmth as well. So, and I've always got a hot water bottle. It's summer here in South Africa, and I've always got a hot water bottle with me. Um, yeah, and I think it's just because our skin becomes so thin that we just don't retain heat anymore. Um, yeah, but if I may,
so would you be able to repeat that? I just cut out for a second.
do you mind me asking what kind of diet have you found helpful? Because you said you buy clean meats and veggies, and what do you find helpful for yourself?
Yeah,
Or what do you find? Because you seem quite clear at the moment, so maybe when you were flaring.
yeah. I'm very fortunate in my older sister is actually, um, I believe she's either done a master's or she's got a degree in nutrition as well. But she
Mm,
focuses a lot more on female hormones. Um,
mm,
so I managed to get a free kind of skin prick blood test and find out
mm.
my food allergies, which consisted of pretty much all the ones you can imagine: gluten, dairy, egg white, not egg yolk, which I found quite interesting. You might have better ideas on that. Uh, Coffee, oranges, brewer's yeast. What's the other one? Yeah, those seem to be the main ones. And since I cut out them foods, it was almost within a couple of weeks. My skin went from being really red, bumpy, and it cleared up a lot very quickly.
Great.
Yeah, which was incredible. And I think also combined with summer, I find in both times when it gets to around summer or the weather picks up, my skin just clears massively. I basically don't even feel anything, and
Oh,
and
wonderful.
yeah,
Mm.
and then once I get round to winter, it starts to just slowly just creep back up. It could be to do with me getting out of the bad stage and think, you know what, let's go out, let's go drink with my mates, or let's stay up late
Okay.
and drop
Yeah, yeah.
everything. Um, but yeah,
But surely you'd be doing that in summer, not in winter. Don't you? We hibernate in summer. Oh, but we've been through lockdown, so who knows? Okay, cool. Okay. It's confusing. Our seasons have not been regular. I think our behavior is not as
yeah,
seasonal as it typically would be because we've been in lockdown on and off for the past year.
yeah, and this is another one is quite thankfully. It sounds awful because coronavirus has affected so many lives, and if you work, if you've been dropped off for work, but for me, it really helped with just focusing in on healing because
Mm,
you're at home and
mm.
you get I don't believe people should be obviously everyone gets bored, but I always think there is something you can do to you can learn more things or keep yourself entertained. But thankfully, lockdown has really helped, and I think quite a lot of people with experiment with what works for them. For me in
Mm.
particular, I could really focus on my healing, especially in the first lockdown, and that was where I saw massive changes and improvements in my skin. Whether that help for you or not with lockdown? I know at the beginning
Oh,
quite a lot doesn't seem to help at all, but yeah,
no, I think mentally it was great just to not to have to leave the house, not to have to see people and not to have to put on clothes and, because basically everything I wear is inside out, so the seams don't irritate my skin. And, I've had to buy like baggy, loose kind of flowy things that are comfortable to wear around the house, but not necessarily, I've lost all sense of glamour and style. Like I haven't looked your sense of self just completely goes out the window. And I say it with a smile on my face because I try and stay optimistic, but it's a real I don't have any good words for it.
yeah,
It's a real mental challenge. And but I did want to say, because you did ask what things I found helpful in managing my symptoms over the course of TSW, and we did mention the ultraviolet light, the infrared light. But the other thing is, my mom was always saying to me, get yourself a humidifier. Especially when my skin started to get really dry. Do you know what a humidifier is?
no,
Okay, it's you put water into a container and it generates. I've got it going there, and it generates. Oh, my sleepy brain. It generates. It humidifies the air, basically. It humidifies the water and it
mm.
condenses into these like just it's just billowing. Uh, Gosh, I really want you to edit this out. It keeps moisture in the air. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
When you said humidifier, I was like, "What's that?" But once humidity in the air,
yeah.
it makes sense. That was just me being stupid.
No, yeah, shame. And my vocab is. I'm so glad that I'm not actually seeing clients face to face. And yeah, I work from home, but I'm mostly working online. Kind of a lot of writing and emailing and meetings and stuff, but I don't have to be that presentable and I don't have to have my head screwed on that well. So when I'm functioning on 2 hours of sleep a night, it's not the end of the world. But if I was out there in the world having to face people every day, I think I would really feel challenged.
Yeah, and even besides from work, just there's no fear of kind of missing out of anything for other people that are going through TSW. It's
Mm,
kind of, oh, we're in lockdown, this is awful, I should be out partying, having plans.
mm,
Whereas I agree with them, I say, yeah, it's awful, but really, it's just, you don't miss out on anything. You don't need to worry if you do go out about, do I wear long sleeve shirts so that your elbows are
mm.
covered or
Yeah,
all that.
absolutely. It takes a massive load off. Yeah, being in lockdown. We're so fortunate. And I've just thought, I don't know how people have managed to do it without lockdown. I don't know how people manage to go to work. There's no way that I can put on clothes and go to work every day. Like, no way. I
Yeah.
can't bear the discomfort. Um, yeah, the other thing that I found helpful is moving over to using beef tallow as a moisturizer,
Mm.
which sounds basically from a local butchery. And yeah, it's use it as a moisturizer. So that I found really reduced some of the itching and the inflammation on my skin, um, which
Yeah.
was helpful. Salt baths, bathing in salt water, that I find helpful. In the earlier days, I think I was getting, shortly after stopping the cortisone, I was getting things like, are you familiar with folliculitis? Sorry, folliculitis.
No.
Okay, so it's an infection in the hair follicles. What looked like an infection in the hair follicles. So little like pustular bumps on the skin, and I found that quite disturbing because it's one thing to have a rash that itches and is sore, but it's another thing to think you've got an infection. And so in the earlier days, I was constantly going back and forth to the doctor. I was inquiring about getting skin grafts, and I got put onto antibiotics twice at my own request, which probably wasn't the best thing to do in retrospect. because there were, I think, I was suspicious of infections, but I think in the early stages of TSW, that's just what happens. Our immune systems are suppressed, and well, actually, uh, we're actually quite reactive to everything, but I think we're not managing to control that inflammation, and so we tend to maybe pick up a few things, or maybe the general consensus is that we're not actually getting infections. But I think we're probably, the point of my story is that it's very unnerving thinking you've got an infection. So at that stage, it's nice to use some salt water, or just to mix salt into your bath, which I suppose is going to be antiseptic to some degree, and then rinse it off so that you don't dehydrate your skin too much. That I found helpful.
Yeah.